What if some of the wildest conspiracy theories you've ever heard turned out to be true? From secret government experiments to corporate cover-ups, history has shown us that sometimes the line between paranoia and reality is razor thin. The truth can be stranger and more chilling than fiction. Governments, corporations, and powerful institutions have, time and time again, been caught manipulating, deceiving, and even harming the very people they claim to serve. And for every conspiracy that gets dismissed as fiction, there are others that turn out to be horrifyingly real. Welcome to Phantom Astronaut. If you enjoy venturing into the unknown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's unravel 5 conspiracy theories that weren't just theories. The first on our list is the Tuskegee syphilis study, a chilling case of medical deception disguised as research. From 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on hundreds of previously infected African American men in Alabama. These men were falsely told they were receiving free medical care, when, in reality, they were being used as test subjects. The goal of the study was to observe the long-term effects of untreated syphilis. Even after penicillin was discovered as an effective cure in the 1940s, the men were deliberately denied treatment. Many suffered severe health complications, and some died from a disease that could have been cured. The study continued for 40 years, with the participants unknowingly passing the disease to spouses and children. It wasn't until 1972 that the truth was exposed, causing national outrage and a deep mistrust in government-led medical research. The Tuskegee syphilis study remains one of the most horrific violations of medical ethics in American history, a grim reminder that sometimes the people meant to protect us are the ones doing the most harm. Next, we have MKUltra, the CIA's secret mind control program. It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi horror film, but the project was very real. Beginning in the 1950s, the CIA conducted a series of classified experiments aimed at developing methods of psychological control, brainwashing, and manipulation. Their focus? Drugs, hypnosis, and psychological torture. Subjects, often unsuspecting civilians, prisoners, and even government employees, were dosed with LSD and other mind-altering substances without their knowledge. The goal was to see if they could be mentally reprogrammed or forced into submission. One of the most infamous cases involved Frank Olson, a CIA scientist who was unknowingly given LSD and later died under mysterious circumstances, allegedly falling from a hotel window. While the government called it suicide, many believe he was assassinated because he knew too much. The full extent of MKUltra wasn't revealed until 1975, when congressional hearings forced the CIA to admit what they had done. By then, much of the evidence had already been destroyed. The experiments led to devastating mental and physical consequences for many of its victims, yet no one was ever held accountable. Third on our list is big tobacco and the cover-up of smoking risks. For decades, the tobacco industry knew what the public didn't, that smoking was highly addictive and deadly. Internal documents revealed that cigarette companies were aware of the dangers of smoking as early as the 1950s, yet they actively worked to mislead the public. They hired scientists to downplay the risks, manipulated research to cast doubt on the link between smoking and lung cancer, and spent millions lobbying against regulations. By the time the truth came out in the 1990s, the damage had already been done. Millions of people had become addicted to nicotine, and countless lives had been lost to smoking-related illnesses. Massive lawsuits followed, forcing the industry to pay billions in settlements. But even today, tobacco companies continue to operate, shifting their focus to new markets and alternative nicotine products. The deception of big tobacco is a stark reminder that corporate interests will often prioritize profits over human lives. The fourth conspiracy, that turned out to be real, is Operation Paperclip, a secret U.S. government project that smuggled Nazi scientists into America after World War II. When the war ended, the world was quick to condemn the atrocities committed by Nazi Germany. However, behind the scenes, The US military was more concerned with securing Nazi expertise before the Soviet Union. More than 1,600 Nazi scientists, engineers, and technicians, including individuals who had worked directly with Hitler's regime, were secretly brought to the US and given new identities. These scientists were put to work on cutting-edge technology, including missile development, space exploration, and biological warfare. Some played key roles in NASA's space program, helping to put America on the moon. But many of them had blood on their hands, having been involved in horrific war crimes, including human experiments in concentration camps. The full details of Operation Paperclip weren't declassified until the 1970s, sparking outrage over the ethical implications of giving war criminals a second life in America. It forced the world to ask, when does national security outweigh justice? Finally, let's talk about Watergate, one of the most infamous political scandals in American history. In 1972, 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. At first, it seemed like a simple case of burglary. But as investigative journalists Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein dug deeper, they uncovered something far more sinister: links between the burglars and President Richard Nixon's re-election campaign. The Nixon administration had orchestrated an illegal spying operation to sabotage political opponents. They wiretapped phones, stole documents, and used government agencies to cover up their crimes. When confronted, Nixon denied any involvement. But secret recordings from the Oval Office eventually exposed his lies. Facing impeachment, Nixon resigned in 1974, the first and only U.S. president to do so. Watergate proved that the highest levels of government were not above corruption, and it set a precedent for political accountability. It also fueled decades of public distrust in American leadership, reinforcing the idea that even the most powerful figures can, and do, engage in criminal activity. These 5 cases remind us that the line between skepticism and truth is often blurred. What begins as whispers of conspiracy can sometimes become undeniable fact. History has shown us that governments experiment on their citizens, corporations deceive the public, and power is often wielded in the shadows. If these conspiracies were proven true, what else might still be hidden? Even today, the world is filled with unanswered questions and secret dealings. The rapid advancement of technology, surveillance, and artificial intelligence raises new ethical concerns about privacy and control. Governments classify more documents than ever before, and whistleblowers who expose corruption often face severe consequences. The world we live in is shaped not just by what we know, but by what we don't know. Thank you for joining me on this stranger than fiction exploration. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Check the description below for more ways to support the channel. What do you think? Are there other theories out there that might one day be proven true? And if so, would we even be ready to believe them? I'm Phantom Astronaut, and I'll see you out there.